Miriam Harris. I'm playing Gertrude Walters, Donald's mother. I'm so happy to be a part of this film, and I love all the time period and the subject matter, and I really hope other people do as well.
Welcome, Miriam. It's so good to see you again. So long. Such a pleasure, really.
Oh, it's so nice to be back with you.
I know, and I was really looking forward to this. So tell me, how have you been?
I've been very well. I'm really happy to be here, and I'm so happy to talk about something that was such a beautiful experience for me.
You know, I need to tell you something. When we had your audition in the beginning, if you remember the very first day, you told me something at the audition. You said that, your mother had the book always with her, and that struck me as something so special. And your audition was so beautiful. And when you're talking about Swamiji's mother, she had to have a certain air about her which was otherworldly, which was not today, and we were talking about period, right? You seem so perfect for it, and I'm so glad that you were taken.
Me too. I thought, I know who Yogananda is. I feel like I fit in those other time stories, and I have to tell you, I do remember that audition experience. I remember I came in and I somehow hadn't gotten any audition sides in an email, so normally I talk myself out of going to things that I think are not going to be good, I was just like, oh, I don't want to do that anyway. But even though I hadn't gotten audition sides, I still came because I knew I really wanted to. And when I left, I almost was crying because I felt that something was there. And so even if I didn't get it, I felt happy to have been there.
I know, and that's what I remember when we called you and told you there were two and we had to choose, and you said exactly this, and it touched me so much. You said, it's really not important whether I'm taken or not. I'm just so happy that I did the audition with you. Everyone, Miriam, has commented on your scenes, has spoken about you. Even people who have known Swami and his story have said, she was just perfect for his mother's role.
Oh, that's so kind.
And it's so difficult to play a role of this kind. It's not easy, especially considering your age. You were so young. In fact, that was the only thing going against you because you were so young.
There's a big range of time there.
Yes. Yeah. So we were wondering how, you could take it, but it was done so well, and I was very proud of my decision.
Well, thank you. Thanks for pulling for me. It was just such a privilege. Something like I've never come across an opportunity like this since, and that was a long time ago that we filmed.
Yeah.
And I think I told you this before. My mother had never read Autobiography of a Yogi. It was just something she had, and once we started filming, she read that, and then after that, she read Swami's book, and a lot of her friends have read that now. And actually, her whole spiritual group does the energization exercises with the video of Swami now every day. And so it's just spreads. But I didn't know. I was like, you've never read that book? It's been on our bookshelf my whole life.
Oh, yeah. Isn't it amazing? That's so amazing, my God. So what do you remember the experience of going to Romania and all of that?
Yes. I remember maybe not what scene was what day, but the whole thing I remember energetically.
Yeah.
Such a beautiful experience, and I'm so grateful to you for making that effort to be there in the place. Every place carries a certain energy, and a lot now you can do on green screen, and you don't have to be anywhere, but it just feels different, especially for actors to be as close to the real thing as you can. And it was just so beautiful to be there.
And I had to work really hard for your dresses because, again, it had to be 1930s and 20s, and we went up right to 1940s, 1948. But I think you just fitted into that time, and that whole...
To play this woman, for some roles you'll look at what is the psychology of this character and what happened in their life that makes this important to them. But for her, I really felt, just by reading Swami's impressions and memories of her, I just felt that I had to feel that I was in the same energy as her. It wasn't that I had to write down a lot of facts. It was more trying to feel
attune with that.
How his memories of her were. And I thought, I'm not even playing the real Gertrude, I'm playing his memory of their relationship.
That's so beautiful. That's so well put, you know. And you know, when Swami was scripting this movie, every time that he would send me a script, and then the next morning I would receive another script, and there were always more scenes between him and his mother. That's where, you know, all his focus was on the additional scenes was between him and his mother. They had a very, very special relationship. And she understood him in a way that only a mother can. And every time I saw that particular scene with you and little Donnie, when, you know, he says that, I feel so alone, mother. And you hold on to his hand and say that we're all alone before God. It was so beautiful, Miriam, because, you know, for you to, I was just thinking about it as a mother, that if my son had to come to say this to me, first of all, there is the pain of feeling his pain. And yet you can't show that, but you have to guide him. And that was so wise and it was so well done. Your expression was so right and so just there, because you felt his pain, but you had to just say the right things to him.
Right. How difficult, I can imagine, for her to not patronize him at such a young age. She recognized the wisdom he was already striving for.
Mother, sometimes I feel so alone.
We're all of us alone, dear, before God.
I don't think it could have been done better. I was so happy and I was so proud of you.
That's so
That
kind.
scene was, you know, it was like the crux of the whole relationship. And you did it simply beautifully.
Thank you so
I really love that scene. Which is your favorite?
My favorite of me or the whole,
Whatever.
the whole movie?
Of the whole movie,
is so
everything.
beautiful. And I feel, well, there's one with Mason, the middle, where he is in so much pain. I think he's about to go to bed.
The war.
And he's in so much pain. And my heart just went out for him, just like it was real. That was so surprising to me that I just really cherished that memory. But I'd have to say altogether, the end where they're laying Yogananda to rest, that very end, just, I could not keep my eyes dry. And I just feel the energy in the film. You can feel the love behind it. You can feel the presence that even now I'm feeling it. And just that we worked so long on it and we've seen it and we know what's coming, but when you see it, it's still so powerful.
Yes, it is.
So I won't forget that, the end of that film.
Yes, that's true. I feel it each time.
I do have to say also what was so beautiful is the music. All the music is Swamis, and it is so beautiful, and so it sounds so theatrical. It was meant to be seen in a beautiful film in a big theater, and I just think that puts such a beautiful, specific layer to it as well. That I really noticed when watching. You don't know when you're filming, but when you watch it all put together, just amazingly done.
Miriam, do you think in today's world, when a film like this releases, can the ordinary man realize the significance of a film like that?
A lot of my favorite films are ones that are not well received at all, and then a couple years later, people think, "Oh, actually, we were wrong. This is a great film." For something like this, I think the value and the beauty of the film will be recognized by the people who see it, and I think it will just be, as more and more people see it, the following will grow.
Yeah, I do think each film has an energy of its own. It has a trajectory of its own, a life of its own, a purpose of its own. And there's only so much that we can do, and then it takes over, you know. And, you know, when we did the post-production of the film, we spent a lot of time, effort and energy in the special effects, which are not visible, and that's the best way.
Yeah, it's amazing how beautiful and almost otherworldly, just an otherworldly beauty in that film. And I couldn't tell you, I was there, I couldn't tell you what was enhanced by looking at it, but the overall impression of what was done is so beautiful.
Yes. And what other performances, or scenes that you've been affected by, or, you remember?
I do have to say, Leon as Swami, I cannot overemphasize. You cannot, no matter how gifted an actor you are, you cannot bring that quality, that sensitive spirit, and that wide-eyed wonder, and that essence that he, as an actor, has, was something that no skill can match.
Absolutely.
So I just thought his performance was beautiful.
Yes, we were very, very sure when he took his audition, and in fact I kept asking him to smile, because Swami had this wonderful smile. It used to light up the room, and I found that in Leon a lot, and during the audition I kept saying, "Can you smile once more for me, please?"
I just want to see it again.
This, my firstborn, Lord, I give to thee. Guide his life according to thy will.
Isn't he beautiful?
George, who plays Swami's father, I thought was not only a beautiful performance, I feel that everything he says, you believe he has that authority and that practicality that made them so different. And I just found that relationship, both between father and son and between mother and father, so beautiful, because they were completely different. And I thought, he doesn't understand him in the same way, and yet he still connects. They still connect.
Absolutely.
And I thought that was very beautiful.
And that was a part very difficult for us to cast too.
I remember, yeah.
And even the librarian, a small role like that was just for a few seconds maybe. We took a lot of auditions to get that person right,
It was worth it. I remember that moment. And I believe it gets a big laugh.
Yeah, it does.
And it's just a little moment you remember, because there's that care to make it just right, and to take the effort to find the right person. And it really just enhances the whole project.
Absolutely. And how was your experience working with Pavan as the director?
It was beautiful. I have never worked with someone who, first of all, has a beautiful eye, that you can see on the screen, but what I found so helpful was, before we would do a take, he would tell me a little story, a little story of the moment, and I really felt the life of the script was just all, not only up in his head, but in his heart, and giving me the gift of telling me a little story so that we can all tell this big story was so beautiful. It made me feel like I could do it. So that was so beautiful. I've never had that experience before or since.
That's wonderful. That's really wonderful, Miriam. I agree totally.
And I must commend you also, Kaveeta. I know with Pavan's direction was so lovely, such a gift to me as an actor, and with you also, a presence on set every day, every shot, looking at everything, taking care of everyone, and that attention to detail that you had. You had your eye on the costumes between two continents. So we had some in America, some in Romania, and they all had to match. But I remember one day, I think we were filming at the school, the boarding school, and I was coming out of hair and makeup and had my costume, and you said, the eyebrows aren't right, we need to change them. So we took a couple minutes to change them, but it was just the little details that you knew that helped just keep everything on track with such a international cast and crew and shoot, that was just, I could just feel how much everyone cared. So to have that security of knowing that everything was being attended to, and really just that attention to detail from the love of just telling the best version of the story you could was just amazing. I still remember, those eyebrows aren't right.
They weren't matching with our previous.
Right.
Yeah. I remember that.
Remember.
I remember that. Yeah. Wow. Thank you so much, Miriam, for coming. It was It was wonderful talking with you, going over all those times again, of the memories you've created together, of this beautiful movie, of your beautiful performance in this movie, and I'm really so glad you were part of it.
Oh, thank
really,
you so
really.
much. It was so lovely to talk about this with you, and I'm so glad to know you now for many years. It's
Forever.
wonderful. Yes.